going on, guys? XSR Detroit here with another video for you. Today, really exciting. I'm finally getting rid of my stock bars on my Honda Crf300L. When I bought the bike, one of the first things I wanted to get rid of was the stock bars, but I wanted to also feel how they felt with a guy my size for future reviews for you guys. But it's time to go. I don't want to go on the trail without any bark busters or with a thin bar that could potentially bend, so I've got a whole bunch of parts to show you guys. Let's start out with the bars. I've got some contour bars from Protaper, the high bend. I wanted to get these in the gold, but they were sold out, so I settled for black. I think they'll look cool, but I want the gold to match the forks. But yeah, of course we're gonna need some riser adapters for our new chunky Protaper bar. Acerbis Handguards. I like these because they match the bike, and they have this kind of like cool, like, it's not carbon fiber, but it has this cool pattern that kind of resembles carbon fiber, so pretty cool stuff, and I've heard great things about this company. Also have some new grips. I want to go with some black grips. The stock grips on this bike are pretty shitty, so swap them out with some soft Protaper pillow tops. We're going to start out with the mirrors. I'm over here on the clutch side of the bike. Go ahead and pull that up. This nut is a 14 mil, and we're turning it clockwise. Over here on the brake side, same story. Lift that up. 14 millimeter nut, turning it clockwise. We've got 4 zip ties holding the wiring onto the handlebar. I'm going to go ahead and clip those off. On the clutch lever, we have a few connectors. I'm just gonna disconnect them. There we go. The clutch is held on by 2 8mm fasteners. Oh, that one was pretty loose. That's not good. Gotta remove that. And I'm just gonna put these fasteners back in so I don't have to chase them down later. The controls on the clutch side of the bike are held in by 2 Phillips head fasteners. Once you remove the fasteners, you'll see that we got our switch here. So you wanna like lift this top portion over the switch. Over here on the brake side of the handlebars, we've got 2 connectors going to the brakes. I found that it was easy enough to use some small needle nose to get them out. It's kind of a tight spot. I already got one of them loose, so we'll grab the other one. There we go. We've got our 2 8mm bolts to remove. I didn't want the brake lever just hanging around, so what I did is I just zip tied it to the turn signal on the other side. That way I don't have to worry about it flopping over and putting stress on the brake line. We've got a Phillips fastener here and here on the throttle controls. There's 2. So I'm gonna lift the top portion of that off. We'll just set this to the side here. We're gonna remove the cable from the throttle. So I've been kind of thinking about how I want to do this. I think there's enough space where I can kind of get a pick in and just do it. I may have to loosen up the throttle cable at the throttle body, but we're gonna see if we can get away with this. All right, I'm using the thin part of the pick in here, lifting, almost there. Again, just using the thinner part of the clip or the pick. Oh, it's right there. Just gently lift that. There we go. All right. There we go. No damage to the throttle cable, so we're good to slide that right off. Up top, we have 4 12mm bolts on the handlebar clamps. I'm going to use my arm to kind of block the handlebar from moving while I loosen these up. Got my Protaper bar adapters. What I'm going to do is remove these 2 fasteners on both of them. They're 10mm, and then we can install the bottom portion onto the motorcycle. I loosely attached the lower portion of the risers onto the bike. What the instructions indicate is about 4 inches in between these 2 bolts for this bike. So you want the other fasteners facing outward, basically. So I'm going to tighten these fasteners by hand, and then I'm going to apply some torque. We're looking for 15 to 17 foot-pounds. What I'm going to do now is grab the handlebar and the top portion of the risers and get it on there and basically just feel the bars out and see where I want to adjust them by getting on the bike. So I pretty much got my bars where I want them. What we need to do is make sure that this gap between each side of the riser is even. So right now mine aren't. I didn't tighten them down or anything, but before we apply any torque, we need to check both sides of the risers and make sure that this gap is the same on both sides. As you can see, the gap is pretty much even, so I'm going to go over to the other side and do those as well. Now that I've got both sides of the risers evened out, we're ready to apply some torque. We're going to be putting 15 to 17 foot-pounds on all 4 of these fasteners. And I'm going to tighten them a little at a time. At both ends of the handlebars, we have these plugs. We're just going to go ahead and remove those. Let's take a look at the stock throttle tube real quick. We've got my grip on here. I got to peel that off. But what I wanted to show you guys is this lip you have underneath the grip. So be very careful when you're peeling it. I would peel it a little, turn it a little, turn it, peel it, turn it, peel it, until you have it completely off. Don't use a pick, don't use any tools. This stuff looks pretty fragile. I didn't break mine or have any issues with it, but I took it really slow. But you should be able to slowly work that lip, or I'm sorry, the groove that goes over the lip off, and then once you have that, you should be able to just peel this off. But I'm gonna do that off camera. So what's been working for me for getting this grip off the throttle is I've just been pushing it into my chest. I grab the grip and just push. It's coming. It's definitely coming, but it's slow. I feel like I'm in Alien right now. Like I got a chest burster. I got the stock grip off the throttle tube, and over here we have the new Protaper pill grip. Feels really nice, by the way. But we have to modify these to fit on the bike with the handguards. As you can see, we're not going to get a handguard fastener through that now, are we? So what I'm going to do is, I think right about here, I'm going to Dremel this portion off. Then of course I'll have to do the grips too for the handguards before we pop those on. Alright, got my tube Dremeled out. It doesn't look actually half bad, but I put it on the bar. Looks like it's gonna fit pretty nice, so let's take care of the grips. To give myself some slack up top with the throttle cable, I did remove the throttle cable from the throttle body. I basically just loosened up this nut, it's a 10 mil, and then turned the throttle body so I could remove the throttle cable, and now I have a bunch of slack up top to work with. So what I've done is taken my throttle tube and put it on the bike. As you can see, we need to give the throttle tube some space. We don't want it touching the bark busters, but I've also applied some blue masking tape. The reason I did this is they have these tabs on the inside of the controls on both sides for the electronics, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that to mark on the tape, and I'm going to drill the hole. I've seen guys remove the tabs, grind them out and everything. For the throttle side especially, I want to make sure that I have that hole drilled, because I don't want my throttle all willy-nilly out on a trail or something. It's just something I don't want to have to think about down the line, like should I have kept the tabs? I think I'm just gonna roll with them. Maybe you could get away with it on the left side a little bit more because you're not using a throttle, but I don't know. As much as I'm not excited to drill holes into new bars, I think it's probably the best option. So I'm sitting on the bike, looking at my controls, everything feels lined up. Throttle isn't impeded in any way. We've got clearance for the bark buster, so we're pretty good. I don't tighten this down all the way. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna squeeze it so I can get the imprint of that mounting tab, so I know where to drill. Here we have the indent from the controls and the tape, so I'm gonna grab a drill and drill into some brand new handlebars. Oh boy. I'm going to use a center punch to mark where I'm going to drill. My plan is to start with a very small drill bit and just slowly work my way up. There's no reason to rush this. This is the only part of installing the handlebars that I was a little worried about, so I'm just gonna take my time. I've got my handlebars turned all the way to the left to help reduce movement, and we're gonna do this. Take a seat on the bike, see how we feel. Button location is perfect. This thing is not moving. Throttle cables are routed properly. We've got throttle with no bullshit. So we are ready to put the brake lever back on. So I've got my brake lever perched up. Remember to put this in the up position. And I'm just gonna hand start these for now. And we'll do some adjustments to make sure they're in the proper location before we tighten it down. Don't forget to plug in your brake light switch. There we go. At this point, I'm going to reattach my throttle cable to my throttle body and tighten that up. I'm not sure if this is gonna help, but I'm gonna hit these grips with some like warm heat from a hair dryer to get them kind of malleable. So these grips, one goes on the right, one goes on the left. The right is larger in the diameter to accommodate the throttle too, whereas the left just has to go on the bar. So I'm gonna start out with the throttle side. I'm gonna be using some hairspray. Alright, so putting grips on is easy when you have an air compressor to fill them up with air and put them on. I don't have an air compressor. Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing on the left side. I'm not sure if heating the grip up helped, but it definitely didn't hurt, so I'm just going to do it again. Same as the throttle side, I'm going to be applying blue masking tape so I can find where to drill for the tab inside the controls. It's a bit difficult to see, but we have our indent, so I'm going to punch it and drill it. With the hole drilled, I'm going to do a test fit. Alright, the fit is good, so I'm going to put the two fasteners back into the controls. Took a seat on the bike, adjusted the clutch lever a bit, feels pretty good. Maybe bring it up a little. Brake lever feels good, so I'm ready to tighten this up. Got our two connectors going to the clutch switch, don't forget about those. What I'm gonna do now is fire up the bike and go through all the handlebar controls and make sure everything's working. Horn, brights, turn signals, everything, just to make sure we're good to go and call it a day on the bars. I took the bike for a quick test drive to make sure that the clutch and the brake was engaging, making sure all my hand placements felt great. Everything is cool. The bars feel amazing, by the way. I'll get into that in another video, but we are ready to put on the Acerbis handguards and wrap this up. So this is the layout for the Acerbis handguards. We've got these two smaller Allen heads attaching this bracket to the handlebars. We have this another Allen head attaching the actual handguards. Then we have this expanding fastener, which is going to go inside of the handlebars. Alright, so I've run into a bit of a problem. The stock clutch lever is a little too long for these. As you might not be able to see it clearly in the video, but that's on the inside of the handguard. So what I'm gonna do for now is I'm just gonna cut this lever short, I think. Yeah, that'll be fine. And then I'll probably just swap the stock levers at some point with some adjustable levers down the road. The brake lever has plenty of clearance. It's the clutch that's given me some issues, so time to bust out the Dremel. Got my new custom shorty lever. There was like a mark here, so I'm like, I'll just cut there. But let's see how the fit looks now. All right, so that's pretty much flush. All right, cool. We're ready to move on. Now that I have my custom fabricated lever set up, we're going to move on to mocking up the rest of the bark buster on this side. Alright, let's start tightening everything up. Got my throttle side mocked up, everything looks good, so I'm going to start tightening everything up. Last step, we got the actual hand covers. that's gonna do it for this video, guys. I know there's a ton of handlebar install videos on YouTube for this bike, so I really appreciate you watching mine, especially if you made it this far. Overall, it's not bad at all. The only thing I was really worried about was drilling into the bars, which turned out to not be a big deal at all. I think since these the controls have tabs in them, you should probably just keep them. I know some people grind them away or just remove it entirely, but I just don't want to be on a trail or out somewhere riding and just have, especially the throttle side, just like twisting up on me. So I figured if they put tabs in there, I'm gonna drill into the bars, but it's not a big deal. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Really glad to have the handguards. I didn't want to do any serious trail riding without them. I think it's good to protect your hands. Protection in general for the bike, I think, is pretty covered now with the skid plate and the radiator cover. But yeah, man, I'm really happy. These bars feel very comfortable even on the street. In the future, I'll be doing a review on these bars and the handguard setup once I get some dirt time in. But right now, man, this is just nice to cruise. I'm a 5'8" kind of guy. I'm a bit of a manlet, and I have to really kick my leg over this bike. I'm not saying it's too tall, but it's probably almost there. But with these nice high bars, picking up the bike is super easy now. So that's a perk I didn't think about when I got the bars, you know. But yeah, they look good, they feel excellent, and I'm really looking forward to getting this bike in some dirt. I feel like I say that every video now, but we're getting close. I was just talking to my dad. We're getting his trailer all X-tracked out. We're gonna go in gear. There we go. X-tracked out, so we'll be able to move my bike around and see what Michigan has to offer. Heard it's pretty sick. I've only been on them on the Michigan trails, on ATVs and side-by-side, so I'm excited to see what this bike life is all about, this dirt bike life. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching as always. If you like the content, please consider subscribing. More CRF stuff coming on the way. If you have any questions, sound off in the comments section. And as always, get the fuck in your lane, bro. As always, ride fast, ride naked, wear your helmet. You should wear your helmet for jag-offs like that. All right, I'm out of here. Peace.